city. DC, that's where I'm from. 1130 podcast. Dre and Willsy is the one. Let's get it. Yeah. Who with me? Let's get it. Yeah. No, with me. Yeah. I'm from the city. DC, that's where I'm from. Let's get it. 1130 podcast. Dre and Willsy is the one.
He the one, nigga.
So let's get it, baby.
He the one.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your man Dre, aka Dre on the wheels. Y'all already know what it is, man. Welcome back, you guys, to the 1130 podcast. What's good, everybody doing out there? Appreciate you guys joining me back here for another week of the podcast, man. It's gonna be a great show. It's going to be a really great show. Good morning, good night, good afternoon to all my listeners all across the world. Yo, man, appreciate you guys joining me back here for the podcast. Good morning to everybody who's listening to me on EB Radio this Wednesday. And for everybody who's watching on YouTube, appreciate you guys joining me back here for the podcast. For everybody new, man, sit tight. It's going to be another great show of the 1130 podcast. And also, if you're new to the podcast, man, go ahead on YouTube, man, and subscribe to the 1130 podcast. Hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment, man, all that good stuff. And also, man, follow EB Radio on Instagram at EB Radio _. Leave a comment, man. Tell me what you think about the show. It's going to be a great one, you guys, man, for real. And also, don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. But you guys, man, like I said, I'm back here with another banger, another great show, man. Man, doing this podcasting thing is really, really fun, man, for me. I've been doing it for about a year and a half and just connecting with different people each and every week, like-minded people, like I be saying, is wonderful. But these guys, you guys, who's joining me this week on the podcast is going to be fun, man. My guys, Luke and Kris, you guys, they're the hosts of the Then Wait Ppdcast, you guys, where their podcast is about bridging the gap between able-bodies and people with disabilities, man. I talk about that, of course, numerous of times on the podcast and on my documentary. So, man, what a way to, have them on. And it's their first time on the podcast. So, yo, it's going to be fun. But Luke and Kris, how's it going?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
No problem, man. I appreciate you guys joining me on the podcast. Man, how's life treating you guys?
Oh, man, it's going good, man. Going real good.
Yeah, life treating me real good right now, man. Just enjoying my life right now.
Hey, that's
trying to live my best life, man.
Hey, we all trying to live our best life, man, in this crazy times. But Luke, Kris, man, it's awesome to have you on the podcast this week.
Yes,
like I was just saying, you guys are the hosts of the Then Wait Ppdcast, which I dig, and I really, came across with you guys just networking and stuff on Instagram, and I love seeing other guys, who or just people who just about pushing the narrative out there, just saying, hey, yo, even though we're in a wheelchair, we can do it too. So I really dig you guys' podcast. Just to say that, but before we get into everything, man, can you tell my Luke, Kris, whoever you want to go first, can you tell my listeners this is something about you guys?
So I originally grew up an hour north of Chicago in a small town called Antioch, Illinois. And then outside of high school, moved to Tennessee, ended up going to school here in Cleveland at Lee University. And then I spent like the last 7 years down in the Houston, Texas area. And now I'm back and we're doing this podcast. So.
Okay.
Yes. I grew up in Edgewood, Maryland. So lived there when I was 8 to about 23, I think. Then I moved to Cleveland, Tennessee and went to Lee. I was a late bloomer. I just wanted to try to go to college and get that college experience. So I went out to Lee University out here in Cleveland, Tennessee. It was different from Maryland, and I loved it because it was just something different. You from the north, so you know how it is. And but I enjoyed it out here, and I moved back up north, and then I came back here, and now I'm just here. I'm just here back in Cleveland, and doing a podcast now. That's all.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. That's really cool, man. That's real cool. You guys talk about how you guys met in college, man. And Luke didn't want to be Luke didn't want to be your friend, Kris.
Absolutely, that's true, bro. It is true. I mean, I can understand it though, because like growing up, I had a couple friends who were disabled, but they pretty much just clump everybody together. Hey, y'all are disabled. You should just be friends, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't always work that way, and you shouldn't do that to people anyway. But that's how the school system was. In a lot of ways, it's still kind of that way. So. But yeah, me and Luke, he didn't want to be my friend. And I mean, everybody wanted us to be friends. So we just kind of kept bumping into each other and then kind of formed it out of that. So the rest is history.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, man, I'm not trying to be a lot of people's friends. Like, I was a little older, so like I said, when I came to Lee, I was a little older, so I wasn't into like forcing relationships or friendships with anybody. If it happened organically, it happened. That's cool, but I wasn't into all like making a lot of new friends anyway. So,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, and I definitely want to try and be friends with anybody out of obligation because they're in a wheelchair.
Okay. Hey, that's understandable, man. I've been through that. I'm in a wheelchair too. And I really, connect with you guys podcast, man. Would you guys the only two guys in the wheelchair at the college?
I think there was one other guy. He was, if I remember right, I think there was just one other guy at the time. I don't know. I think he was kind of older too, but I never really knew him too much.
No, it was a guy at Lee. He was a pretty cool guy. I talked to him, but it took me a minute to really get up with him and talk to him. But I think he was like one of them hot days, and we had an event up there, and we just came up and was chopping it up. And I was like, oh man, he's kind of a cool dude. But I never got close to him. But we would see each other, and we had mutual friends, so we would always like speak to each other and things like that. But he was pretty popular guy though.
Yeah. I understand, man, because me going to school here in the city and I'd have been probably like, maybe I was gonna say like high school. Majority of the time I was like the only guy, but if it was someone else who was in a wheelchair or had a disability, you feel me? You was not seem like you were obligated to like be friends with them, but it was just like, yo, I mean, no one else is like, paying you no attention. They kind of like to the side because, you're in the wheelchair. Like, what can you do? You feel me? So they playing on the steps and shit, it's different.
You're right.
It's crazy. But did you guys feel obligated to be friends though? Because you were guys, both in the wheelchair?
No, not me. I mean, I know Luke said he didn't either. I mean, because like when I came to Tennessee, like I started kind of coming into my own. So I was like, in high school, I didn't have much confidence in myself because the wheelchair and everything like that. So I started to kind of figure all that out. Then when I came to college, I was like, you know what? It's a brand new slate, new life. I don't know anybody here. I'm away from all that. So I just gave it my all, and I became pretty popular pretty quick. So by the time I met Luke, like I knew enough people. So I was like, okay, if I end up being friends with this guy, whatever, but I got enough going on, so.
I wouldn't say I feel, well, obviously I don't feel obligated, but I don't think it was obligation on us, but like able-bodied people, they put that obligation on you. They put that expectation on you to be friends and things like that. So that's why I feel that obligation came in, and I don't care. I don't give in to peer pressure. So.
Okay. I feel you because it just seems like, man, God just put, certain people, man, or the right people in your life for a reason, because it's just like, I don't know, man, because, with you guys meeting each other and staying in close contact, would have been, a podcast if it was just Luke and someone else who wasn't in a wheelchair. So it's just, I seem like things just always fall in line, the way it's supposed to be in life,
Yeah, you're right about that.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. On you guys' podcast, you guys talking about bridging the gap between able bodies and people with disability. Can you tell my listeners about it?
You want to go first?
All right. So my big thing is like there's so much going on in the world, so much hatred, so much just people not understanding each other in anything and taking sides and all this. So, my whole thing is like if we know how we feel. If we can, not really like, I guess not feel like we're attacking anybody, but just show them and try to help them understand what we go through. Yeah. Maybe the world could be a little, just a little bit better than where it started off at. So, and that's my whole thing. And we work from there and then we can do more, but like, yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I think one thing Luke's always said is like, you can't go back and talk to your 15-year-old self and tell them it's going to be all right. But you can encourage other people that are young and in this situation, or even people that are older, because people get in accidents, they become paralyzed or what have you, or get as they get older, they have a progressive nerve disease or something like that. So that's a big thing too. But people that listen to our podcast, they see how well we just communicate. And it's just a casual conversation. That's how it began. Was one of our friends was like, hey, you guys just have such deep conversations. You can talk to anybody about anything. And so we realized like, hey, we can communicate, right? We come from two different worlds, two different sides here, but we found a way to communicate. We don't always agree. And sometimes things get a little heated, but it's all right. At the end of the day, we love each other. And that's the important part. And when that conversation ends, we're still the best of friends, no matter what was said, you know? And so that's the biggest thing. Too many people nowadays, they're so focused on division instead of just hearing the other side and finding common ground. And if you can do that, like Luke said, you can change the world and make it a little bit better.
Yeah,
so
right about that. I'm right about that. I like that. That was well said. What you guys feel like is something that people, able bodies, as you guys say, feel like they don't understand the most? Because I hear you guys talk on you guys' podcast, and it was a funny part, you know, if you go into the movies or you just out and about, man, and you know, you go into the bathroom and they are in the wheelchair stall, you know, it's like, come on, man, I gotta use the bathroom. I remember working at the movie theaters, and that was like, you know, it was the biggest slap, you feel me? I'm in a wheelchair, like I'm getting squeezed through the like, come on, why you couldn't go to that one? Because you wanted to get your bag, you wanted to have much space, but like talk to me about like what you guys feel about, or the bridging the gap part that you guys are trying to accomplish or talk about, or the narrative you're trying to push on your guys' podcast.
Well, one of the main things is a lot of our friends and a lot of people I talk to on about that have heard the podcast, is that especially when you talk about that, you're like, yo, I had no idea, or, you know, I never thought about that. Even in my family, you know, because I'm a very quiet person, and it takes me a minute to like be vulnerable. So like I try to be a little vulnerable on the podcast. So, you know, so family, like my mom, my brothers, and I talk about things, it's like, man, I had no idea you even felt that way. You know what I'm saying? And so just trying to open people's eyes up to how we feel about things. That, I mean, I can't hold you accountable if you aren't aware of how we feel. Now, once you be aware of how we feel, then I can hold you accountable if you still want to be that person. If you be ignorant to the point. So
absolutely, I fully agree with that. And you know, one of the biggest things we always tell people too is don't be afraid to ask questions. Now, there's a way to go about it. Like, don't just run up on somebody who's disabled and just bombard them, but sit down, have a conversation, get to know that person. You'd be amazed how many people would just, like, it would just naturally open itself up like a door, you know? But I think back for me, like when I was in school, like teachers and everything, like they always told people like, don't say nothing, don't look, don't ask questions. Like it's rude, but it's not. Look, especially as a young kid, kids are gonna ask questions, they're curious. Heck, I see some people when I'm curious. My thoughts are rolling. I mean, I ask those questions, but I still have those thoughts, you know? So if you're a young kid, you're vulnerable. You don't know, there's no, you know what I mean? So like our biggest thing is don't be afraid to have a conversation. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and don't be afraid to get to know somebody just because they look different. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you're right about that, man, because people would tell me, oh, you're here when you're out and about, don't stare at them and stuff like that. And I always would be kind, you know, especially to the little kids, the young ones, because they don't know, they don't understand. But if you're 30, you 40 years old, you staring in my face, like, come on, though, like, it really don't make sense, though. But I definitely feel what you guys saying. I've been in the wheelchair since I was about 14 years old, you know, like how you guys, you know, also talking on your podcast, and we're going to get into that in just a minute, about, you know, because my disability is called Charcot-Marie-Tooth syndrome. And, you know, I was walking at first where I could move my hands and I could, you know, walk, you know, I wore braces and stuff, but it got, you know, gradually I got older. I say about like 13, 14, my muscles and my legs got weak and stuff. So, yeah, man, I know that, you know, that side from walking and now being in the wheelchair. How you guys story? You know, have you guys been in the wheelchair majority of the time?
So for me, I have cerebral palsy. Okay. So I can never walk on my own, but I could walk with a walker, and I could walk like just like everybody else. I mean, obviously with that little bit of assistance, but I could go. I mean, just go and go. But by the time I hit about 15, 16, by 16, I was in a wheelchair. But from like, I'd say about 14, 15, it was just that slow decline. You know, like I was reaching a point where I was starting to be able to stand a lot more on my own for longer and could start taking steps. So I was like really excited, and so there was some medical advancements and stuff like that coming out. So I was getting excited, I'm that young. I'm like, yeah, I might actually be able to walk and like play a little bit of sports or something. I just wanted to be able to walk at least, like, even if it looked different, just to be able to not have to use a walker or a wheelchair, So, but then, like I said, about 15 into 16, it was just that slow decline. Like my stamina started wearing out, my legs started getting weaker. I just couldn't do it anymore. So by 16, I was in a wheelchair and been in one ever since. And there's been those ups and down battles. People that listen to the podcast, they'll know about all that. But, but you just got to kind of, one thing we talk about a lot is finding who you are, finding your identity and your disability and being confident in who you are. And I'm sure you've gone through that as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my story there.
Okay. I understand, man. That hit home because you also talked about how you guys were, about just trying to fit in and just be yourself. It was just like before I started the podcast where I gained my confidence and, being myself because I wasn't, always like, happy. I was kind of like a shy person and I really didn't, sit well with it. How did you guys, handle that? What Luke said, when you stopped walking, how did you, stop handling it?
For me, I became angry. I became very depressed and I was mad, I didn't even believe in God at the time, but I was pretty ticked off, like what the heck, I'm putting in all the work here and it's like getting the rug ripped right out from under you, and so for me, I became really depressed and just down. And in a lot of ways, I didn't want to live anymore. I was like, forget this. I don't want to be stuck in a chair because it made it a lot worse. Like I had to get in a power chair, which, saves you stamina wise, energy wise. But, my family didn't have a handicap accessible van. Those weren't the most popular thing back then. And it just made things a lot more difficult, so it became very depressive for me. But, it's one of those things just over the years, I started to realize, okay, it actually made me more independent than less independent. You know what I mean? I don't get exhausted easy. I'm more stable. I can do a lot more. I still live on my own and everything like that. So, it's just coming to that realization. You gotta realize the good with the bad, so.
Yeah.
I say for me, I was always kind of off and on because I have a form of muscular dystrophy. So my muscles always kind of weak. I was late developed. So I always kind of used a wheelchair, but I walked a little bit. So as far as that, it was not, I wouldn't say very a reach my identity because I always used a wheelchair anyway. It was part of me at a young age. But I think when I started to get older, I was very angry. I try to be happy. And a lot of people tell you Luke was always happy, man. And that is fair. But I was very angry because I couldn't do anything. When playing basketball, playing football, I didn't get to do that. When people starting to, get their driver's license, the learner's permit, and drive it, I didn't get to do that. That messed my confidence. I didn't even go to my prom and things like that because my confidence wasn't even that great. So I was a very angry person for a long time. And I think I even hid that anger until one day it just came out. So I've been through a kind of a 2 or 3 year depression. I was just sad and mad, you know what I'm saying? But I'm a lot better now. And like I said, I live my best life, man. I live with what God gave me, and I'm trying to live my best of what I have.
Yeah, you're right about that, man. You got to, man. You really got to. Man, I went to my prom. I went by myself though. I ain't had no girlfriend or whatever. They ain't want me. I wasn't the prom queen, the king, or nothing like that. I didn't play on the football team, so man, I know exactly what you're saying on that, man, because it's real. Because people out here won't understand the daily struggles that people go through in a wheelchair. And yes, we are all human, but I don't think of people able-bodied person could walk a day or roll a day in our shoes, as if you want to say it like that, man.
Yeah, you say that. I always feel bad when people end up in a wheelchair and later on in life because they're not, their identity has changed, you know, especially in 30, 40. You mapped out your whole life, and those goals that you had, they're not going to, I mean, they still could be goals, but you have to go at them in a different way now. You got different goals now. So like, I always feel kind of bad for like new people being in wheelchairs that late in life. So we kind of had it easy because we dealt with it early on in life.
Right.
Yeah, you're right about that. I had a woman on Glen Nichelle who was quadriplegic. And she, you know, she paints and she do everything just with her mouth and stuff like that. She was in a car accident. So, like for them, you know, people who it was just a change of a moment or a snap of a dime. Yeah, you feel real sad, but man, like it is crazy. But you guys, man, we're gonna move on here on the 1130 podcast. Luke mentioned it earlier, and I understand, you know, because we gotta being in the wheelchair or just having a disability, you just gotta take it day by day and just keep moving forward, and just, you know, try to accept yourself and be happy with that. If you could tell your 15, 16-year-old self something, what would it be?
Would it be? Man, my biggest thing is let your emotions out. Feel what you're feeling at that time. And once you get done feeling that, move on. But life is gonna be good, bro. Like, you still gonna have friends, you know. I still go on dates, I still hang out, you know, I still do all that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it took me a minute to figure that out, but like I still live a cool life. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like just go, like let yourself feel and just continue to like make steps to be successful in life, and everything will work out. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Hey, I like it, man. Another thing you guys talk about on you guys' podcast, because I dealt with it too, is being overlooked. How do you guys deal with that? You know, I've been on, like, I remember one time I had like 6 job interviews back to back. Didn't get not one of them though. Because you know, I felt like it was just, you know, they already judged me by the time I came in the door. You know, it was like, you know, what can he do? You know, he might be a liability, you know, who knows, or whatever like that. But, you know, how you guys, I heard you, I think it was Kris, talking about how you got, you know, worked at Walmart and stuff like that. You know, how you guys handle it, and, you know, about just, you know, on a daily basis and just trying to find employment or being independent, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, my first job was working at Walmart. But honestly, it was a process of about 2 years of trying to find that job. And that wasn't the first time I applied at Walmart. They were just desperate for people, thank God. But really, I mean, that was literal divine intervention at that point in time. Like, when I got that job, I needed that job. Like, there was no question about it. But yeah, prior to that, I went through like government agencies and stuff, which are an absolute joke, to try to get a job. And I remember I went to so many job fairs, and the people would just take your resume. You never hear nothing back. They didn't want to hear you. They just look at you funny. At one point in time, I remember we went to a job fair, and they were telling me it was illegal for them to take my resume and all this and that, and they opened it up to the public. So when all the disabled people left, they opened it up to the public. They were taking resumes all day long. So, you know, and I've had people tell me, okay, you got the job, and then, you know, you never get a call back, or they ignore your phone calls or whatever. It's crazy, man. But really, I mean, you just got to the only thing I can say is just keep going, keep applying. Like, as much as it sucks, and it does suck, especially when you really need a job. There's a lot of disabled people out there. They're struggling. It's hard to live off one income, especially, you know, if you don't get disability. You just get SSI. It makes it even tougher. But you just gotta keep rolling. And heck, I don't know if I can say this, but in some ways you might have to lie. If you know you can do the job, find somebody that can buff that resume up. I've had people do it, and I've lied to get jobs because I knew I could do it, and I've proven myself. And so just believe in yourself, be confident, and learn how to sell yourself. If you can learn how to sell yourself, like I said, if you got to fudge that resume a little bit, do it. Everybody does it. Because at the end of the day, these corporations don't care about you as a person. So just do what you got to do to survive.
You're right about that.
So
Well, yeah, I'm just gonna say. I mean, I've worked at Walmart on 2 separate occasions, up in Maryland and down here. But I don't really, when I keep jobs, I just keep job. I just kept it because I didn't really want to go into like people overlooking me other places. So I'm just gonna keep. I got a job at Walmart. That was my first ever job at 18. He was like, I ain't really gonna go out and look for other stuff. Like, why should I do that when that's gonna happen? You know what I'm saying? So like, just did that. But being overlooked though, it does suck, and it helps. It doesn't help with your self-confidence.
Right.
All it does is make you reject yourself before somebody else can reject you. Mm-hmm. So, but people that's listening to you, us talking right now, that's going through that, keep that confidence. You are worth something. You have a value. Right. And, you are worth being on somebody's team. So don't give up.
Your life has purpose. You got to believe that. You got to believe in yourself. You can't count yourself out, before you even get there, because you're going to fail every single time. You got to tell yourself you're going to land that job and just keep going. You got to roll with the punches, just like you did, if you're suffering from a disability or whatever you're going through. Life is full of punches. You got to be able to take them and keep going.
Yeah.
So
you guys right about that, man. For real. You're right about that. And you're right about them government agencies, man, where you got to go through, try to find you. They help people with disabilities. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, right. All right.
Yeah.
That's nothing but bull crap right there.
Yeah.
And you got certain people who are not good at selling themselves or don't feel like they should sell themselves. Like, what type of advice would you have for them? Because they feel like, just like you said, man, you apply for a job and they won't even call you back, or you apply for an apartment and they just overlook me, just like, oh, I forgot, or no, you don't have it. What you guys advice for people who feel like they, need to go the extra mile, but don't have that confidence to do?
So, I mean, I think, not to cut you off, I'm sorry.
You go, don't worry.
But I think if you can't do it, don't be afraid to ask somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go to somebody, hey, look, because I speak up for myself, but like when I was younger, I had a hard time doing it. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm able to do that. But when I was younger, I'd be like, hey, mom, or somebody I know can speak on my behalf, that's going to be a little bit more aggressive. You might, I'm not saying go to your mom, but go to somebody so they can speak on your behalf or something. Or I know this is like, I don't think that might be good advice, but like even help them, like, get some advice from them or something, but like go to somebody that knows how to speak for themselves, that has like confidence oozing to help out. Because you're going to have to, like, I won't say fake it till you make it, but you're going to have to like get a backbone because you already got at a disadvantage. So you're going to have to do something.
Yep, I agree with that. And for me, like just speaking from my experience, like I was very shy in high school. And so I never was, I would socialize with people and stuff like that. And like a lot of people thought I was so happy and this and that. But really I wasn't. I was depressed, especially by the time I got in a wheelchair. But for me, I remember when I was 18, like I moved to Tennessee to live with my dad and stuff. And he was pretty much like, look, you need to learn how to survive out there in the world. You need to learn how to do all this stuff. So he would force me to like get on the phone and pay some of his bills just so I could learn how to talk to people. And like stuff would catch me off guard and you're like, and you feel dumb. But looking back on that, like it makes you better, right? So for me, I would say if you're a young adult, especially if you're disabled or even if you're not, if you are terrible at the phone, I know a lot of people nowadays, they're socially awkward. They don't know how to communicate, stuff like that. Find somebody, like Luke said, that can, maybe speak on your behalf a couple times, but more than that, that will show you how to do it and will work with you and show you those things because you have to do it. No, at the end of the day, somebody can speak on your behalf, sure. But as you get older, you eventually got to learn to do it by yourself because nobody feels sorry for you. Yeah. Nobody in this world, let's be honest, nobody in this world truly cares about you at the end of the day. People love you, yes, they care about you, but as a whole, employers and things like that, they don't feel sorry for you. Who cares? What can you do for them at the end of the day? So that's when you got to learn to sell yourself. So find people that can help you to learn those skills that are really good at it because everybody knows somebody that could sell a pencil to a stranger on the street. You know what I mean? So just find those people, tap in and grow in that, and you'll be fine.
I like that. I like that. That was well said, man. For real, well said. Because, like I said, I struggled for a while, man, and just the job I had, the movie job I had, I think it was kind of a way, especially like communicating as far as like a podcast or just behind closed doors. Because I always answer the phones, and stuff like that. So that was a kind of cool way to connect with people without people actually seeing me and judging me because off of my disability. So that was kind of like a first starter, but just growing and just connecting with people and just people just like, yo, man, just be yourself, because I struggle with just trying to fit in, just want to be with the normal, So, man, I know all about that. Yo, man, Luke and Kris, man, this has been an awesome show, for real. This has been an awesome show. But you guys, man, we got to take a quick commercial break here on EB Radio and YouTube. You dig? Yo, we not going nowhere. We got this great convo, man, still to come on the other side, for real. So don't turn it. Don't close out the app. You're listening to EB Radio, for real, with the 1130 podcast, for real, man. Don't go nowhere, you guys. Don't go nowhere. You're listening, you're watching to the 1130 podcast, you dig?
Let's get it. You know it. Yeah, they gon' hate, but they ain't stopping this. I'ma keep making hits. Dre and Wills, you know it ain't no copying. Was you sitting there on the carpet with us? Yeah, we welcome.
Everyone has something to say, a story to tell. We make it easy to share yours. So let's talk.
Regardless of your podcast setup, hit record. And from there, whether your podcast reaches 10 people or 10 million, we can help you get heard wherever listeners are.
And who knows, maybe even quit your day job.
But no matter who hears you, it's about connecting and sharing something from your perspective.
It's about having a voice and using it without anything standing in your way. Say it all with Anchor.
When you grind from the bottom, then it feel more awesome. Don't be scared of us. Just approach with caution. 1130 podcast, nigga, is you watching? I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. 1130 podcast, Dre and Wills is the one. Let's get it.
Yo, welcome back, you guys, to the 1130 podcast here on EB Radio. Appreciate you guys sticking with me throughout the commercial break. I have my guys, Luke and Kris. They're the hosts of the Then Wait Ppdcast, you guys, man. Sitting and chopping up, having some fun, you guys. Before we hop back into that, you guys, program reminder, you guys, tune in tonight to EB Radio, you guys. The Notorious Moms, all new episodes, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You don't want to miss it, for real. Tune in, you guys. That's going to be a great one. And also, you guys, to keep locked on the 1130 podcast and everything you hear and what you like, follow EB Radio at EB Radio _ on Instagram, you guys, and tell me what you guys think about the show. Chat it up, for real. That'd be great, man. But you guys know we're gonna move on here on the podcast. Speaking of podcasts, I mentioned you guys' podcast, of course, the Then Wait Ppdcast. You guys got a meaning behind it. Can you tell my listeners about the meaning behind the Then Wait Ppdcast?
You want to tell them?
Of why we did the name like that?
Came up with it.
The name?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So going back to the bathroom thing. So I was up one. It was a weekend, and we were talking about this, and we finally like, all right, yo, let's do this. We about to do this. So I'm just typing in like, what can we name this? What can we name our podcast? That's cool, like have people laughing, but like we could talk about it like we're doing now. So I'm just typing in things. I'm like, so I'm doing so I think I type in like handicap stalls, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, I don't know the correct order, but eventually I put in like handicap stall. So Curb Your Enthusiasm came up. And so I click on it, and it's a dry, like I don't know if you know about the show, but it's very dry, but like kind of funny sometimes.
Okay.
So the guy's using the handicap stall. Got a wheelchair, comes in, he's like, hey, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Like that's the handicap. That's my stall. That's a handicap stall. You like, well, nobody was in there. I didn't think the thing. Like, no, somebody was in the other one. We're like, well, then you wait. Kept just saying, then you wait. He's like, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like they was going back and forth, and he's like, go to the other stall, and all this stuff like that. But like, it honestly started making me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, you know what? He kept saying, well, then you wait. And I was like, yo, Kris, what about we name the podcast Then You Wait, and I like showed him the clip of it. He was like, yeah, that's cool. And I was like, that's still too long though. So kept cutting it, and then like, yo, we about to name it Then Wait.
Yep.
And then that's where Then Wait Podcast came from.
Hey, that's what's up.
So
That's what's
like, if y'all want to hear, I don't think I explained it cool, but like, look up like Curb Your Enthusiasm, and you can find that scene.
Okay, cool. I like it, man. I get it now, you know, because I was like the Then Wait podcast. You guys explained it also in the show. I just want my listeners to hear about it. You know, then wait, you know, like, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. You can go in these other little stalls right here, but no, man, I want to go. Then wait, you know. So I get it. I like it. What's some of the craziest stuff you guys have heard or people have said to you guys about, you know, just being in a wheelchair?
Man, sometimes, bro, like last week we was at the bar?
Oh yeah.
So like sometimes, man, like being in a wheelchair, they treat us like we like military vets, bro. Like we're very inspirational, like this and that. Like I'm gonna let Kris take this, but like it gets like very like, all right, man, calm down.
Yeah, this guy, I mean, he'd had a few, but you know, he just kept going on and on and on about how me and Luke were like so encouraged, like so inspiring, this and that. We've been through so much, and it's so great to see us out. And like, you know, normally, like I said, the guy had a few, so I kind of just was like, whatever, you know. But if he wasn't in that condition, you know, I probably would have said something to him, but you know, I just kind of ignored it. But you know, he just kind of kept going on and on and on. But the bonus out of that is he paid for everything. So he ended up paying for all of our drinks. So it ended up working out. I mean, pretty good. So, but yeah, you know, you get that, but it's even worse. Like when somebody's sober, you know, it's like, I've had some weird instances. One of the weirdest ones I ever had was I was actually working at Walmart, and I'm in the bathroom. I'm washing my hands, and this guy's washing his hands. And so and he finishes up. I keep washing my hands. You ever had that feeling like somebody's watching you, but you're not paying attention? Yeah. Like I just felt that. I look over and this dude's just standing against the wall, like just staring at me. And I look at him and I'm like, "Are you all right?" And he's got about tears in his eyes. And he's like, "I just want you to know you're so inspirational. Like nobody out here wants to work and this and that." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. And like that's okay. Like it gets annoying sometimes, but let me tell you something for people out there. The bathroom is not the place to have that conversation. It was just so weird, you know, but.
I got another story too. When I was working at Walmart here, this guy was talking to me and he was like, "Man, you know, this and that. I had problems." He had a brain cancer, I think it was, so he was dying, but he was like, "I look at you and my life is that bad." I'm like, "Bro, you about to die."
Right. I mean,
like I'm just in a wheelchair. You about to die, and your life. You still feel like your life is better than mine. Like it's not, but like I was like, man, really? Like you really gonna disrespect me like that? That's when some things I laugh off, and then sometimes I'm like, nah, that's not cool. So
yeah, hey man, I understand it, man. Some people will just come up to you and be like, "You know what? God bless your heart," and you know, give you money, and I'd be like, "Okay, well, I ain't asked for it." Or
I'm gonna take it though.
Yeah, I mean, exactly, right? Exactly. Or if I'm riding down the street or something like that, and hey, let me get a ride. I'm like, let you get a ride, like. Or what's the other one? You guys talked about this one on your podcast too. Let's race.
Right.
When you guys, why is that the first thing when you see two people in a wheelchair? You guys say, "Let's race."
Yeah.
That's wild, though. That's wild. But when you guys race, who won?
Oh, I did.
Luke wins. Yeah, Luke wins.
I did.
Hey, man, that's what's up.
I didn't want to do it to him though.
Right. It wasn't by choice. It was forced. That's for sure. But yeah.
Hey man, that's cool. That's cool. Speaking of inspiration, what keeps you guys inspired, or what inspires you guys?
I mean, for me, like especially this past year, like coming back to Cleveland and pretty much, you know, it was starting over. So for me, it would definitely, I would say, have to be my faith and everything. Just trusting in God that everything's gonna work out all right. You know, even though you lose everything, like He can restore everything back and then some. You know, so for me, I think that's been my biggest thing. Just going more in that. And just trying to be a better person each and every day, you know, and just kind of realizing your potential and your purpose and who you are in him, that's been big for me.
Yeah, I like to say my hope and my faith. Keeps me inspired, but like just being encouraging people, you know what I'm saying, when I can, just like making an impact on as many people I can in that day. I mean, sometimes it's one, sometimes it's none, but like if I can make an impact on somebody's life for a positive, then that's great. So
okay. Hey, I like that. I like that. Speaking of impact, what impact you guys would like to have on the community of people with disabilities, you know?
Man, go ahead, Kris.
I was gonna say, for me, like I wanna give people hope. I want to inspire them. I want to let them know that, like, hey, you may be struggling with this disability, but whatever you want to do, as long as you put your mind to it, you can do it. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It doesn't mean it comes overnight. It doesn't mean, you know, you're not going to have to overcome some things. We all have to overcome some things. But I think, you know, the only thing that's going to stop you in life is your mentality. If you tell yourself you're not going to be nothing, then you're not going to be nothing. If you tell yourself, I'm going to be one of the best artists that ever came out, whatever it may be, paint, music, whatever, drawing, you can do it. Put in the time, put in the skill, you know, hone your craft, you can do it. So that, for me, that's what I want to do. And I want to encourage people. I want to let people know that they're loved. You know, from a spiritual standpoint, I want to encourage people in that way as well. You know, because I do believe that there is a God, there is a higher power, there is a greater love out there. And I think you need to be an example of that. I try to be that. Every day is not easy, you know, but I think as you grow in that, so that's been a kind of a driving force for me, those couple of things.
Yeah, and I would go back in that episode, I talked about my friend Jimmy, and he has a motto, don't do life alone. And that's something I've heard for many, many years. And it speaks volumes. It's like, you don't have to go through what you're doing by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, so we always say, like, we got to socials, reach out to our socials. Like, if you want to talk, like, you want to message, we can get back with you, but we will go through what you're going through with you as much as we can. You know, we may not be there physically, but we're there in your corner. So
I like that, man. That's well said, man. That is well said. You got to find something, you know, to keep you inspired, man, and walk by faith, man, because each and every day it's a struggle, and it's always something that's trying to take 2 steps back when you're trying to get somewhere forward. So I definitely understand what you guys I'm saying about that. Another thing I want to ask you guys, how it has been about, you know, dating, you know, in the wheelchair, you know, how you guys handling that?
You want to go on that?
I mean, I date, I hang out with girls. Well, once I get past, so I read some books on dating. Now I did a little bit of dating, but like, but my biggest thing is I will always self-reject before I let a girl reject me, you know. But I stopped letting, you know, everybody off the hook, but like, especially like girls, if I like a girl and she says no, I don't take it personal. You know, it's not personal. I don't believe it's personal, but I just had to look at it like it's not personal, you know, whatever the case is. But at least I know if I ask or put myself out there. So, you know, I don't think I really have a lot of relationships, but I do go on dates and I do hang out and you know, whatever. But I put myself out there, just say that.
Yeah, I understand, man. I understand because I've been there because growing up, I told this story. I didn't have a lot of girlfriends because it wasn't that I shot it down, whether they even try to come at me, but it was just like, you know, I think their attention is not really, you know, what it really is because I'm in a wheelchair. Like, I don't know the best way I can really like explain it though. I say this numerous of times though, but I definitely get what you're saying, man.
I mean, some days it's still hard though, because I still go through that.
Right.
And I feel like if I went in a wheelchair, would I be married with kids right now? You know, I don't really know, you know, maybe, but you know, there's still people out there that's able-bodied that's not married and don't have kids, and that's what they want, and they don't have that. So I don't know, but like I deal with that some days. I have my good days and bad days with that. But at the end of the day, you know, I will put myself out there. And at least I don't let anybody off the hook with friendships or trying to get a job or something that I need. You know, if you say no, you say no. Like, you know, I don't know.
I think that's good. I think for me, like I've done a little bit of dating and stuff like that, not too much, but I mean, I'm not afraid to talk to girls or whatever. I don't care. You know, I'll put myself out there, but I think, you know, for me, one of my biggest things is, and I still kind of fight it to this day, is I've always been like, it's not necessarily that I'm disabled, but as a man, I'm always like, man, will I ever be able to provide for a wife, for kids, things like that? And I think those types of questions are what kind of hold me back a little bit, because, you know, you're your own worst critic, right? So like, those thoughts just turn over and over, you know, sometimes, but I've learned to just, you know, I know who I am. And so just be confident in that and put yourself out there. And even if you think a girl's out of your league, I'll talk to her anyway, or at least try to, you know what I mean? I don't care. They can turn me down, say whatever. I'm going to put myself out there. And, you know, I don't focus as much on it right now. I'm just kind of taking a break on that. But, you know, I'm definitely not afraid, like Luke said, to shoot my shot and see what happens for sure.
It's funny you say to provide. I don't really say provide, but the more the protect part is where I deal with that, you know, because I think if I'm bringing something to the table, like I think I could provide well enough, but like the protect part sometimes, if somebody want to try me or something like that, right? You know, makes that's sense. My thing where I come from. But yeah, that's it.
I understand, man. I understand, man. I had those thoughts too, just about, you know, providing wasn't nothing. You know, you as long as you try, that's all that, you know, that matters, man. And you know, protection. Yeah, you know, thought about that because, you know, you're in a wheelchair and, you know, you don't want to look like a sucker to your woman, you know?
Right?
Yeah. I definitely get what you guys saying, for real. But you guys, man, we're going to move on here on the 1130 podcast, you guys. Before we wrap it up and go, you guys, it's time for the 1130 podcast hot seat, you guys. Yo, Luke and Kris, I got 6 questions for you. Whoever you want to answer them, don't matter. You guys ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Don't be nervous. Don't be. Have you ever used your disability to get out of a crazy situation?
Yes. Yes, probably. Yes. I'm not saying probably. Yes.
I don't know. I can't. Nothing's ringing a bell for me.
I mean, I can't give you an instance right now, but I can tell you that yes.
Okay.
You know, I'm trying to think of. I don't know, but I know I have. I can't
think of a good example. I'd imagine I would have. I'm going to say yes on that just to play it safe. I'm sure I have. Used it for something, to get something.
Yeah.
To get something, huh? To get something. Okay. I think we all have, though. We all have. I done probably act a little slow a couple of times. we all been there. Right. Okay. What's the weirdest pickup line you have heard?
Oh Lord.
Oh, I don't know if it's a pickup line, but
okay.
I mean, but like on a dating scene, my number one question is does your manhood work?
Yeah, that's for sure.
That's my number one question.
Oh wow.
That I get.
And do you answer it?
Yeah, I answer it. You know,
I mean, just to be, you know, funny, because since they asking, you know, the question.
Oh yeah, I mean, you know, it depends on the situation. I may be like, yo, I may say yes, or I don't know. You should find out.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I say a lot. I say that every time. I say, you want to come over here and find out?
Exactly.
Yep.
That's exactly where I was going with that one. Okay, you just became the first president to be in a wheelchair. What law/bill you would pass?
Good question. Good question.
I think for me, just to start it out, I would have to put in it mandated. Every public building has to be handicap accessible all the way through, and there has to be public handicap accessible public transportation everywhere. Those would be the first two things.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, I would like to say that too. Yeah, I don't know, but that's a good question. I'm like,
No one's addressed.
Why you think? I would probably say, like Loren said, all the buildings be wheelchair accessible. Make sure the elevators work. Make sure them sidewalks wheelchair accessible. It's just so much, man. It's so much. It's so much.
I know. I would definitely, with apartments and things like that, like have more handicap accessible apartments in places, or
housing.
I don't necessarily want to put like get a building just for people with wheelchairs with disability, because I don't want to just. That's what society already does. But I would like to have more of that and more of I don't know the word I'm trying to say. I don't know. Let's move on.
Just more accessible housing, I guess.
Yeah, just more accessible, more nice. Like I don't know. I just want to do whatever I can to make people more comfortable.
Right, to where we could live in the nicer areas, like you know what I'm saying. So that would be nice.
Okay, cool. I like that. If you woke up tomorrow and could walk, what would be the first thing you would do?
Definitely going to play some basketball, hands down.
Okay, why you think on that? Who you got winning the playoffs or at least the NBA Finals?
Oh man, I don't know. I haven't even really been keeping up with it, to be honest.
Well, Harden is out right now, so
yeah, that's gonna be a tough one.
But I still think Durant and them can do it. So my pick out the East, I'm gonna go to the Nets and maybe. So I'd say whoever wins out of the Nets, the Bucks, will make it out the East. In the West, I want to say the Clippers will get it together and actually win. If not, I think I'll go with the Nuggets. I really like the Nuggets.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh man, Utah. I'll change that to I'll go with Utah. I really like Utah.
Okay, cool. All right. If you guys could have a famous actor play you in a movie, who would it be?
I mean, I'm gonna go with Denzel, bro.
Hey, that's a great pick. Golly, that's tough. Oh man, I would probably have to say probably like Leonardo DiCaprio or something. Somebody up there. Yeah, I think he could pull it off.
That's badass right there. I said Denzel too, man. He'll pull everything off so smooth, just real nice and everything.
Right.
Right. I want to be on the set while he playing me. I want to be on the set. Hey, I ain't gonna. You gonna be like, look, hey, I got it right. I'm King Kong. You hear me?
Right.
I got it right. All right. What song will sum up your life?
There's a lot of songs that can sum up my life. I don't know, but Kendrick Lamar, I Just Want to Be Heard. I like that song. He's talking about, getting on and just being heard. Like, it starts off, I used to want to be like Jay. Then I realized Jay wasn't me. You know what I'm saying? Like, be yourself. And like, it's cool to be successful, but be yourself.
Yeah.
But I just want to be heard, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to be heard. That's pretty much, I just want to have my voice out there. No matter what.
I like that. Hey, man. Hey, I appreciate you guys joining me on the 1130 podcast this week. It was an awesome time having you guys, man.
Yes, sir.
This was great. You guys welcome back anytime. Before you guys go, any shout outs, any questions you have for me, anything you'd like to say?
All right, man. So I see a lot of wrestling stuff.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know too much wrestling anymore. After the Attitude Era, I pretty much stopped watching wrestling. But who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
The Rock.
The Rock?
The Rock.
Yes. So I'm gonna go with Shawn Michaels.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Yeah, I gotta go with Stone Cold all day long.
Those Stone Cold and those three. Those are my three favorite.
Those are so good. I love them all, bro. Like,
if I had three choices, those Shawn Michaels, The Rock, and Stone Cold.
And the Undertaker, bro.
Woo. Yeah.
That's scary.
The Rock is number one, Stone Cold, and man, I guess I would say the Undertaker, but it's just so many. You know, like Shawn Michaels. It's just man, like just greats, man. Greats. But yo, man, I appreciate that, man. Everybody who come on the show and always, you know, usually if I say any questions for me, they always be like, yo, man, I dig the little wrestling thing you got going on, because it's a lot of people who got podcasts, it's like sports podcasts or whatnot, but they mainly like sports, MLB, major sports. So it's not really like wrestling related. So I appreciate the question, man. And I appreciate that. Any shout outs, you know, anything you guys like to say? Anything?
You just hit us up on the Instagram, Then Wait Podcast, Twitter. Check out the podcast. It's on all major platforms. Apple Podcast, Spotify, you name it. If you go to the link in our bio, you'll see a link to where you can check out the podcast, check out our Patreon. All that's in the link in our bio. So go check it out, listen, share it, and appreciate the support.
And I just want to shout out to all our faithful listeners out there.
Absolutely.
That listen to us on a daily basis, a weekly basis, or whatever you want to say. That's pretty much it.
Hey, that's what's up. When you guys new episodes drop?
Yeah, they drop every Monday. So
every Monday. So y'all get up going to work, or y'all drive to work, or drive home from work, or whatever. Just listen to us, and we got something good for y'all. So okay, you guys, you heard it, man. You heard Luke and Kris. Go follow the Then Wait Podcast on Instagram, you guys. And also go subscribe to their podcast. You guys go listen to them. Man, this was an awesome time having you guys here. Man, like I said, man, you guys keep killing it. Keep doing your thing. Keep inspiring, man. You guys, like I said, welcome back here anytime. I love you guys, man. Stay safe out there. I appreciate you guys joining me here on the podcast this week.
Thank you for having us.
Yo, Luke, Kris, man, I appreciate you guys joining me this week on the 1130 podcast, man. It was an awesome time. I'm chopping it up with you guys, man, for real. This was very, very exciting, motivational, inspiring, man. I always say that, but for real, this really is. Like I was saying to you guys off air, man, I always speak big on representation and, you know, just having, you know, guys and girls, you know, people who are in the wheelchair, who have disabilities out in the forefront, because we always get looked at little, staring at us, you know, like my man Luke was saying, you know, just we always get pushed to the side and get overlooked, man. So, yo, I appreciate you guys for starting the podcast and being on the podcast. You know, you guys never been on the podcast, and I appreciate you guys coming in here on the 1130 podcast to, you know, share you guys experience, you know, being in the wheelchair and just everything, man. So, and also thank you guys for sharing your podcast, the Then Wait podcast. Just, you know, bridging the gap with people who have disabilities and, you know, able bodies, man. So this was really, really awesome, man. Really, really awesome. You guys go follow the Then Wait podcast on Instagram. You guys go subscribe to their podcast. For real, follow them. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the episode. For real, man. For real. That was awesome. That was awesome. I hope everybody Wednesday is going great, you guys. It's been a wonderful Wednesday. It's June now. We're kicking it off nice here with the 1130 podcast, you guys. But before I wrap it up, man, I got some things I want to say, you guys. I'm from DC, of course, though. But yo, I don't know if this is a DC thing or just a nationwide thing, but people, are y'all really out here eating cicadas, though? Like, for real, though? Like, come on, though. You guys be better than that. You gotta be better than that. Y'all out here eating cicadas. They coming out 15, 16 years later or whatever, and that's what you want to do. You ain't got no food in the refrigerator. You ain't got nothing to eat in there. That's what you want to do, is eat these insects. Like, like that is crazy, though. Like, that don't even sit well with me. But, yo, stop eating cicadas. For real, stop eating cicadas. But, hey, hey, to each his own. To each his own. They may be good to some of y'all, man. They really may be good to y'all. Another thing, man. Yo, shout out, man. Shout out to the Ride the Wave podcast, you guys. My guys all over there. Nikki, man, it was an awesome show you guys had last Wednesday. Here on EB Radio. Leave Nikki Alone was trending. Man, it was an awesome show, man. My guys at Ride the Wave, I love the list though, for real. I said with my fiance, man, yeah, taking naps is gay. She was like, well, I must be gay too, you know, like, yeah, I was like, yeah, taking naps, eating ice cream, all that. You got a good relationship with your dad, that's gay, man, for real. Like, like for real, shout out to the Ride the Wave podcast, you guys. Go check out the Ride the Wave podcast each and every Wednesday. You're missing out because you're listening to me now. But each and every Wednesday, set your alarm, man, for 8 o'clock so you can get ready, make your coffee, do whatever, you know, straight, and then bam, soon as 8:30 come, you already got Ride the Wave, and now you wavy now. You wavy. So yeah, another thing, my guys, and also Nikki was saying on the show, and it was also been a trending topic. But yo, ladies out here, if you out here, man, like I said last week, stop falling for the okie doke. Stop falling for it. But yo, ladies, man, if you out here proposing to men, like come on. Come on, and for you guys out here that is allowing your lady to get on one knee to propose to you, you ain't a man, bro. You ain't a man. My woman better not get on her knee and ask me to propose to her or marry her. You know, nah, never in the wildest. It would never go down like that. Like, for real, it just seems like what we living in 2021. The roles are so reversed nowadays. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. I ain't gonna say too much because certain people, you know, everybody get offended by everything nowadays, though. But yeah, that's crazy. That's a WTF, man, for real. And speaking of WTF, man, before I get on out of here, you guys, it's time for the WTF moment of the week, you guys. Yes, man. The WTF moment of the week, you guys. Yo, is this lady, man. Yo, I don't know. Some of you guys heard the story or whatnot, but yo, a dog got loose. I can't remember where it was at, you know, but a dog got loose in this neighborhood, and the guy come out. He was like, "Yo, man, I'm about to get my dog, man, because it got loose." And you know, the neighbor, you know, they are out, and you know, in front of their house with their son and stuff like that. But you know, once the neighbor sees the dog, you know, just loose, she seems to go wild and wants to shoot the dog. But instead, she misses the dog and shoots her own son.
On Saturday afternoon, 6-month-old boxer Bruno's owner, who didn't want his face shown, thought his brother was at the front door and opened it to check.
I came out of my house because, you know, he was barking and barking. You know, I thought it was my brother was coming. So I opened the door just a little bit, and he comes running out. Bruno!
As captured on this Ring video, the owner immediately follows Bruno out and tries to get him to come inside. But within seconds, gunfire. It's hard to see on the video, but neighbors say a family of 3, including Angelia Vargas and her 5-year-old son, were riding their bicycles on the upper right hand of the video. And it was Vargas who fired at Bruno, only to have a bullet ricochet and hit her own son.
But I feel bad because, you know, what happened to the little boy. You know, I just heard everybody screaming and yelling and guns. Oh, I went inside.
The little boy was hit in the stomach and transported to the hospital. Bruno was grazed at the leg, but is otherwise fine. The mother, Vargas, is now charged with deadly conduct. She's out on bond. But Bruno's owner says this just did not have to happen.
There could have been, you know, different ways we could have handled that. She just didn't even just started pulling out, didn't aim or nothing, just started.
Like, I understand the dog was loose, and you know, you don't know if it was gonna come over there, hurt your son or whatever. But why would you shoot the dog? Like, it don't make sense. And it just seemed like, you see how life works, man. Is, you feel me? Like the dog, we don't know. But the dog don't. I don't know. It probably wasn't going to hurt, but the dog, I don't think the dog was going to hurt that little boy. And then you wind up shooting your own son. WTF, man. Really, what a world, what a crazy world we live in, man. Sometimes we living in right now, man. But yo, man, this has been an awesome show here this week, you guys, on EB Radio and YouTube. For everybody who watching on YouTube, thank you guys for tuning in to the 1130 podcast here on YouTube. For real, you guys, man. Yo, before I go, once again, you guys, like I said, tune in to Ride the Wave each and every Wednesday, you guys, at 8:30 a.m. Tune in, you guys, to Notorious Moms, 7 Eastern Pacific, you guys, Wednesdays. Also, the Bond Chronicles podcast, you guys, each and every Mondays at 8. We got a new show coming out. My girl Helen, man, we're gonna be chopping it up this month on the podcast. It is dropping, you guys, each and every Monday at 12. You guys, we're gonna get all that more information to you guys. But yeah, my girl Helen from the West Coast, she doing her damn thing. For everybody, you already know what it is. You already know what it is. And yo, man, just download the free EB Radio app, man. For everybody who's listening on YouTube or watching on YouTube, download the free EB Radio app. For real, got some dope music, dope vibes, man. For all everybody who's listening, and just for everybody, for real. You know, your hottest internet station playing your favorite jams 24 hours a day, you dig? So download it right now, you dig, man? Yo, it's been a great show. It's hot, man, for real. It's hot. It'll warm up here on the East Coast. And yo, before I go, you guys, don't forget to follow the 1130 podcast on all social media platforms. Follow me on Twitter at Dre on Wheels. Follow me on Instagram at the 1130 podcast. Like the 1130 podcast on Facebook. Subscribe to the 1130 podcast on YouTube. Yes, go to YouTube, subscribe to it. Check out some previous episodes of the 1130 podcast. You know how we get down. Like it, leave a comment, and share it. For real, it don't hurt to share it. It's free. You feel me? It's gonna be gone probably in your stories in a day. But yeah, man, I appreciate all the love, and for everybody who's tuning in to the 1130 podcast. Once again, shout out to Luke and Kris. They also, man, like we said, they mentioned the wrestling one. Everyone enjoys the wrestling podcast, and that is the 1130 podcast, Talk Pro Wrestling, where I interview some of your favorite independent referees, ring announcers, you name it, wrestling personalities, podcasters. It's all wrestling, man. Each and every Friday, available on iHeartRadio and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts is at. You guys, go tune in, man. Subscribe. Leave a 5-star rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. I love it, man. Well, just tune in and listen. It's an awesome show. And if you would like to be a guest here on the podcast, email me. That's the1130podcast@gmail.com. Just hit me up on social media, man. You know how we do it. It's been an awesome episode, man. I love it. Each and every week. I thank everybody who's tuning in once again. To just keep, tuning in each and every week here on the podcast. A documentary update, you guys. It will return June 27th, you guys. Yes, June 27th. So go on the YouTube channel, man, on the 1130 podcast YouTube channel, and check out the episodes, man, 1 through 8. Yes, I hear a lot of feedback. Man, they too short, bro. They only 20 minutes, bro. I understand that, but that's the first thing people will say. It's like, yo, they 20 minutes. Well, obviously it's good. You liked it, so you're gonna keep watching. So yeah, like I said, it's a spin-off. It's gonna get expanded. Episode 9 and 10 is gonna be, I ain't gonna give away too much, but go back and watch episodes 1 through 8. Check it out, you guys. I appreciate it. It's been awesome, you guys. Yo, stay blessed. Stay blessed. What did I just say though? I ain't editing that out, me. But yo, you guys, man, stay blessed. Stay prayed up. Give all the glory to God. Yo, it's your man Dre, aka Dre on Wheels, and I'm out.
I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. 1130 podcast, Dre on Wheels, he is the one. Let's get it, yeah. Who with me? Let's get it, yeah. Who with me? I'm from the city, DC, that's where I'm from. Let's get it. 1130 podcast, Dre on Wheels, he is the one.
He the one, nigga.
So Breeze, baby.
He the one.
Who with me?
So Breeze, baby.
Let's get it. You with me? Yeah, they gon' hate, but they ain't stopping this. I'ma keep making hits. Dre and Wills, it ain't no copying. Was you sitting there on the carpet with us? Yeah, we knew we had some options. We blessed, we ain't got no problems. Speak something that I gotta be honest. So